Hey, to all my Facebook fans, I got two things for you. First of all, I wanted to give a sincere thanks for all of you guys who decided to like my page to support the Who Stole My Future movement. To me, it lets me know that you support the things that I'm doing. You support the words that I put on paper to impact young people, because there really is passion behind the book. There's passion in these pages. There's passion in the pen. There's passion in my ink. Um, so there are really some positive things that I'm really trying to do with this book, in impacting the lives of young people. Secondly, I wanted to let all of you know why I decided to write the book, because it is important. There is a story behind it. I'm in Jacksonville right now. I'm currently on the west side, and the story starts in 2013. For those of you who don't know, I'm a video editor at a local news station, and I think there's a sign because the sun just came out. I'm a video editor at a local news station, which means basically that I take the video that photographers shoot out in the field, and I match it with the video that the script that the anchors or the reporters will say on air, to ensure that what they say matches what you see, and it all tells a story cohesively. Um, there was one particular week in the summer of 2013 in Jacksonville where it was just murder after murder after murder, shooting after shooting after shooting after shooting. And you may think that's an exaggeration, but there really was just that many, in the span of a week or a couple weeks. And as we have photographers go out in the field and shoot these videos, they were taking pictures of crime scene tape. They were talking to local they were talking to mothers, they were talking to families whose world, their communities, their existence, their families were just being torn apart from one bullet, from one senseless act of violence, just one pull of the trigger, and it had just completely destroyed them. It turned the world completely apart. They took pictures, or they did interviews with crying mothers, distraught families, crying brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. And as I looked at that, day in, day out, morning in, morning out, night in, night out, I realized that those crying mothers, those crying mothers could be my mom. Those kids that they interviewed, they could be my little brother, my little sister, my little cousin. Those neighbors that they interviewed could be my neighbors, and they're in communities that I could relate to, because I grew up in communities like that where there was no end. It seemed like no end to violence. But for me, it had just gotten to be completely too much. I was sick of it. The newsroom was sick of it. The city was sick of it. And it seemed like there was no end. And I didn't see anybody doing anything to my personal satisfaction. They might have been, but I wasn't satisfied with what they did. And I didn't see any change being brought. But it seemed like nobody was doing anything about the violence. Nobody was reaching out to young people. It seemed like nobody was doing anything. And I had a conversation. As a matter of fact, I was on my way out of the newsroom, and there was a photographer who was coming in, and he had just finished doing an interview with a local, with a mom who had just lost her son to gun violence. He was just shot dead in the street. Slogo was his name. And Slogo, if you're listening to this, man, I will never forget this conversation I had with you. Because of you, because of this conversation, it kind of set my mind on a different path in life. So thank you. But I had a conversation with Sluggo, and he was visibly exhausted. And he looked at me and said, Micah, somebody's got to do something. And I paused, and the thought process that went through my mind just completely turned my world on its head. I thought, well, I'm somebody, you're somebody, everybody in this newsroom is somebody, everybody in this community is somebody, everybody in this city is somebody. There's something that everybody can do to stop the violence, to end this, just a mindset of suffering that was so prevalent in the community at that time. And like I said, I didn't see anybody doing anything to my satisfaction. So I decided to create a movement. And this book, Who Stole My Future, is just one step in that movement, with the goal of creating positive, productive, and empowered young people in our community. Like I said, I got sick of it, and I decided to write a book. The book is actually one of a few steps in my quest to create a better community, not just on the west side of Jacksonville, not just in Jacksonville in general, but in those communities throughout the country that really need it. Whether you're in the Midwest, where I'm from, if you're in Gary, if you're in Chicago, if you're in St. Louis, if you're in New York, if you're on the West Coast, if you're in Texas, you're in California, no matter where you're from, there is something in this book that I guarantee you will change your lives. And I'm not saying that just because it's my book, but there are things that I've learned that everybody can apply, and it has nothing to do with what has nothing to do with what country you're in. It really has nothing to do what continent you're in. There are skills and practical applications and motivations that everybody in the world can use are in the pages of Who Stole My Future. So thank you guys for liking the page. This really is a movement, and you guys are the first to get on the bandwagon. So thank you so much. There's a lot of work to do. Stay tuned to my Facebook page. There's a WordPress blog that I'm setting up right now, and there's really power in the pages. There's power in my pen. There's passion in everything that I'm trying to do. Again, thank you guys so much. The sun is coming out right now, so that lets me know that this is a positive movement, that there is something that's going to change some lives. It's already changed mine, and I hope it changes yours. And if you buy the book, or if you read any articles that I will post, any videos that I'll post, pass them on. They're guaranteed to change lives. Like I said, this is just one step in the movement. Guys, stay tuned. There's work to be done. There's power. There's power in the pages. There's power in the pen. Stay tuned to the movement. Definitely.